Hello and welcome. My name is Cliona Foley and this is Off the Bench, a podcast about women's sport which we hope will educate and entertain sports fans of all ages and genders. You can find all our previous episodes on iTunes or on the podcast section of offtheball.com. You just go in, find our podcast link, scroll down, you find Off the Bench and you should get our previous editions there. We do different things. We have various formats, if you like. Sometimes we have a panel in here to discuss issues in women's sports. Sometimes we're lucky enough to get a sports star in here. And today we're lucky enough to have 3 of them. So on my left, I have 3 of the Irish elite boxing team, starting with Grainne Walsh, Aoife O'Rourke and Michaela Walsh. Welcome to Off the Bench, guys.
Thanks very much.
People won't know this, but they've rushed in straight from training. Did you get anything to eat even?
We did. We actually did get plenty to eat. So
was that done in the taxi on the way in, or did you sit down?
No, we actually had a bit of time. Yeah, we had a quick session this morning.
Bernard Dunn cracks the whip, the high performance manager. He cracks the whip and he said, "Get him in and get him out. I need them back." So, and you're actually going back to training, Aoife?
Yeah, we're going back into training 10 rounds of sparring or tic-tac
this evening.
Yeah.
And is that every day? Do you train morning and evening every single day?
Yeah, Monday to Friday. We're in Dublin Tuesday to Fridays.
Right. And you get weekends off?
Well, we do a session at home in our own clubs.
Good Lord, so there's no end to it. Well, we'll go into exactly what you do, but we should tell the listeners first of all that the Ireland at the European Games recently, which is like almost like a mini Olympics for multi-sports, Ireland sent a team of 11 boxers, men and women, and they brought back 6 medals, and like 6 from 11 is pretty amazing. And the amazing thing is we have 2 of those medalists here in the room with us. So Grainne, tell us first of all, what did you win and who did you have to beat to do it?
So I won bronze, and obviously, like, I was going out there with the intention to win gold. It's the way you go out to every competition. But our preparation was brilliant for this competition, so I was really confident. And my round of 16 was against Rosie Eccles from Wales, so it was a really tough fight, probably my toughest fight that I had out there.
Really, yeah.
And it was that got the ball rolling. Then once I beat her, I knew I was like ready to keep going. So then I got the number 2 seed from Finland, the European champion from last year.
Amazing.
Yeah, so it was great to get that, and that was for a medal, obviously. So there was a bit of pressure there, but I knew I was capable of doing it. And then I drew the Polish girl in the semi-final, and she was like 6 foot something.
She was big.
Yeah,
she was
like,
tall.
And I'm small for 69, so people were looking like thinking it was a bit weird, but yeah, no, it was a close fight, 3-2. But like
and she went on to win it, didn't she?
Yeah, she went
was
on
the champion
to win,
in the end. So you're welterweight?
Welterweight,
and
yeah.
what is that in kilos?
69 kilos.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so
is that the biggest thing that you've ever won in your life?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So it's my second major medal, I suppose you could say, but like it's the best thing that's happened in my career so far. So
and a huge stepping stone for you, just ahead of a lot of big championships coming up.
That's the thing, yeah. It's not like the be all and end all. It's only to kind of show me where I'm at, and now to build on that for qualifiers and the next competitions coming up. So.
And Michaela, 2-time Commonwealth silver medalist, a European bronze medalist, and you went out and went one colour better, but probably the one less again. What did you do?
Yeah, I won silver at the European Games. It was beat on a split decision in the final, which I felt could have went my way, but it's just good to look back and I can improve in that.
But a phenomenal run. Tell people who you beat to get there, because that was the thing.
I beat the current world champion, and so I fought the Romanian girl first. I boxed her 4 times within 7 months, so it's like, they'll tell you, like, if you're fighting someone, the same person all the time, it's hard. Like,
is it?
Oh, it's fair, because obviously if you beat someone, they want to beat you just as bad.
Yeah.
So you have to be on your toes.
Yeah.
So obviously I boxed the Romanian in my first fight, and the next fight I boxed the current world champion,
the German Warner,
from Germany. And I remember watching her when we were at the World Championship last year in India, and just watching her, I was like, I know, like, I can beat her. So
really,
I really wanted to fight her. And the funny thing is, I boxed her when I was a youth boxer.
I was looking up your record. I realised that she beat you at World Youth level.
She beat me by a point in the semi-finals of the Worlds, which was a close fight. And I always remember the pain I had after that. And I said, like, I'm not going to let her steal my dream. So I was delighted.
So that was incredible. You beat the world champion. I think, was that a quarter-final?
It was quarter-final for a medal. And
then you went on and you beat, was it a Russian?
The Russian, the European champion. I boxed her last year in the Europeans, and she beat me on a split decision. So like I knew going in, I'd like I can't let that happen again. I'm just gonna have to.
When you got the decision, you jumped so high you could be an Irish high jumper. And the photos and the video, I was watching it online. It was amazing to see.
Yeah, it was a brilliant,
incredible run you had.
Just like the coaches, not for every fight they had the game plan spot on, and it was just sticking that there. And then obviously in the final, we thought it could have went our way, but it didn't. But it's just. This is a springboard.
Was it a Bulgarian who beat you in the final?
Bulgarian. She was world and European champion.
Right,
so
and we should tell people, what weight are you?
I'm featherweight, so 57 kilo.
57 kilo, and that's important. We'll discuss why those weights are important in relation to the Olympics soon as well. And Aoife, was this your first major championships in terms of senior championships? Because you're only 22, are you?
Yeah, no, I would have been at the Worlds last year. But this was my first European one.
How did it go for you?
I was really happy with my performances and everything. Just didn't quite get the medal, but and
it was. I would imagine this was this the first multi-event one that you went to, where it isn't just boxing, because you would have been at World Championships boxing, but this is an event which has all the different sports going on.
Yeah, exactly.
And what was that like?
It was so cool to see see the way every other athlete goes about their day and how they train and what they do to perform and all that, and just something different besides going out to just boxing. So
yeah, because I think, and I mean, that's the Olympic experience as well. You're going to have that at the Olympics, where you go in and you've got all these giant restaurants where everybody's eating and there's all superstars, and you have to get used to being in that environment. So probably a great experience for you. You were 22, you were 23, and Michaela, you were 26. So we'll talk about how, and I think that's important to talk about how you got into boxing, and also to talk about the year to come, because you've got it's a huge 12 months fee, and this is a brilliant kick-off. Did you bring the medals?
No.
We'll have to talk to Rachel Mulligan about that. We want medals in this too. Where are they?
It's at home, but I was on the way up already to Dublin yesterday, and then I got the email, so it was actually my own fault. I didn't check the email.
Michaela, where's your medal?
I actually don't even know what it is.
You have so many, you don't even know where they are. We had Annalise Murphy on an off the ball thing recently, and she was telling us that her Olympic medal is under the sofa in her parents' bedroom. So we broadcast that, and now she has to move it in case it gets stolen. Put it somewhere else in the house. So you have to rethink that one completely again. Let's talk about your roots to boxing, and we'll start with you, Michaela. So you're from Belfast, a brilliant boxing city for a start. And do you come from a boxing family?
Yeah, well, my dad, he coaches me as well. He boxed when he was younger, and I used to play football and that when I was younger. And me and my brother and our friends used to be also, even my brother's 4 years younger than me, but we all sort of had the same group of friends. My daddy wanted to get Aidan into boxing, so he brought Aidan and a few of my friends down, and I said to my daddy, can I go? And he said no, like he didn't know girls boxed at the time. And I asked him, he said no, women don't box. And I just kept pestering him, and then he ended up having to ask the guy in the gym, can I come down? He said yes, that's no problem. And I remember going down and training, and one of the coaches saying, look at that girl, she's trained harder than all he is. And I remember I loved that feeling when he said that. So I always want to be like the hardest worker in the room.
The one who's training hardest.
It sort of stuck with me, so it did.
And remember, I saw Katie box in the National Stadium. I think 2001. I think it was the first year they allowed girls into the National Stadium to box. So what year was that for you, roughly? Like how many years ago?
2006. Right,
okay. And the first World Championships for women were 2001 in America. Right, so that's how new the sport is. That's why it's so incredible that we're doing so well in it. And you're the next generation, if you like. So the brother and tell us what happened last year in Australia, which is an amazing thing for your family.
Oh, it was amazing. Like just even
yourself and your brother.
Me and my brother. It was like a great achievement. Obviously, to both be on the same team, and he's on the same team as with me now. He's in Dublin. He trains with us.
So he's on the high performance Irish.
He's on the high performance team as well. So
and did you both medal? Am I right in the Commonwealth Games?
Both got silver. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Copying each other.
Well, it's funny.
You only get the same shoes as me.
Really? Well, Jessie Barr was on that recent Off the Ball show with us, and we were asking her about that because her brother is brilliant and she's brilliant, and they do the same event. She was older, she was younger. Is there sibling rivalry between you, or do you ever think you've ever been jealous of one another, or do you help one another, or how does that work? Because she said she was actually jealous of Thomas at times when she's been injured and he's doing well. It's been hard.
I find it pushes me more, like just like we were doing the sprint session this morning, and so we were going like in pairs, so I was with him, and obviously like he's like a horse. And like trying to keep up with him, and I'm like trying to push myself, and he's pushing himself so I won't catch him. So I think it's like, I feel it's good for me that we both push each other. If we're on the bags, whatever, and I see him slacking, I'd be like, come on in, like, pick it up. And he'd be the same, vice versa. So.
And what, 4 years between you?
4 years between
us. And is there any other brothers and sisters?
I have an older sister.
Right.
But she's
not a boxer.
No, she's not a boxer.
I bet there's some relief in the family that you're not all boxers. Aoife, tell us about you. How did you get into boxing?
I just went for fitness. For football, I played GA and.
At where and at what level? You're from Castlereagh in
I was just playing with the club in Castlereagh and decided, I heard the boxing was really good for fitness, so just went to try and improve it and ended up sticking with it.
And was there a club locally that you could go to, or did you have to travel?
It's a new enough club. It opened in 2011.
Called?
Castlereagh Boxing Club.
Right, okay.
So it was right beside me, but I didn't actually go into it till 2014.
Right, so because you only boxed in a few years.
Yeah,
literally. And when you went in, were there many girls there, or were you unusual?
Yeah, no, there was young girls there. There was all ages. Like,
look at that. And Michaela, you started, there was no other girl there. Isn't that amazing? In that space of time?
Yeah, no, there was, and there's a few of them still at it today.
And who's the coach at home? Who's the one who started? Paddy Sharkey. Better give a shout out to Paddy whatever we do. So you went in, and coming from a family then, unlike Michaela's, that has no boxing background, I'm taking it there wasn't boxing in your family.
No, not at all.
Were your mum or dad, did anybody ever express a thing and say, oh, it's a dangerous sport, we don't want you getting hit or getting hurt?
Yeah, no, there were. When I first mentioned about going training, it was a no-go. Like, it wasn't a no-go.
No-go?
One day after school, I kind of just went down to the club myself and
snuck off
from there.
Really?
Yeah, no, and they're so proud of me now, like, so they're glad.
And did it take long to win them around?
By the time I went to my first All-Irelands, they came to watch me, so that was
a good sign. That's a good sign. And then when you start representing Ireland, there's no question they're going to be so proud of you, obviously.
They're delighted.
You came at it from a very different angle again, Grainne, and you actually were a good soccer player.
Yeah, soccer was always like my first love. Like when I was a kid, I was obsessed with soccer. I was always the one girl out playing on the pitch with all the boys. I couldn't wait for break time to get out playing. And
this is Tullamore?
Yeah, in Tullamore, yeah.
Great sports town. Loads of different sports.
Yeah, loads. Even Shane Lowry recently, from out the road. So, but yeah, no one in my family ever boxed or nothing. And I never really... I did like boxing, but it wasn't a sense like, oh, I would have loved to do it. I never saw a future in it or nothing because I had never done it before.
I hadn't done it since. And I mean, how you were good enough, I think, to play for Ireland at some level.
Yeah, underage, and I played in Dublin for 3 years with Shamrock Rovers at senior level. I signed my contract when I was 16, so I was loving life playing soccer. Like,
what
my dream. I kind of played everywhere apart from the goals.
Versatile. Utility football.
Yeah, no, left wing was my favourite position, even though like I'm right footed, but I just loved the left wing. Right.
But so how do you make that transition then?
From soccer to boxing. It was a sense of like there was a boxing club after opening up across the road, literally a stone's throw from my house. So, and I saw there was posters of Katie Taylor all over the town saying she was coming down to cut the ribbon and all this. This is the year of the London Olympics, 2012.
Yeah.
Wow. So I was like, right, I'm going to show my face here. I'll go and keep fit for a few months while the soccer season is off, and then sure I'll go on back to soccer. And
it'll be a chance to meet Katie Taylor.
Yeah. Oh, that was it. I was in it for Katie Taylor, like, and then I got to meet Katie, and like I met my coach Dima. He's one of the high performance coaches now, but he's also my club coach.
Oh,
so
what's your club called?
Spartacus Boxing Club.
Right,
good fighting name.
Great name. What a great name.
But so that's basically how I started, and then I could never get enough of it, and it came to a stage where I was juggling the two. I was doing my leave insert, driving 4 days a week to Dublin to do soccer, and then I was training at home for the boxing, and they did complement each other because one was training top half, one was training bottom half, but it came to a stage where I had to choose one, and boxing was the winner for me. Yeah.
And I've heard that your mother has embarrassed you greatly.
Yeah.
With Katie Taylor. Tell our listeners what she did.
Like. So obviously me being a big Katie Taylor fan in 2012, by 2016 I was on the plane going to the World Championships with her on the team as a teammate, so I was loving life. And then I was coming back from the championships and Mum was in the airport and she met Katie, and the first thing she said to Katie was, you'd be so embarrassed if you saw Grainne's room, like all the posters. My walls were coming down with posters, like.
Katie Taylor was all over you.
Yeah, even when I was at the World Championships with her as a teammate. Of course, there's no secrets, and my mum went.
Will always. Parents. That's parents' job, you know, to embarrass you.
Absolutely. So I was mortified, but Katie found it hilarious. So I'm sorry.
I'd say she had a good laugh with it. It's interesting. We should mention Katie so early in the conversation because, like, we hear all the time, you know, on the 20 by 20 motto is if you can't see it, you can't be it. How important was she? Like, was it a factor in you taking up boxing, Michaela, even at your age, when you started? Was Katie the reason you did it? I know definitely it was for you, it seems to have been, but was it for you? It might not have been.
I didn't know any boxers when I first started. I was just copying the end, going down to the club, and then obviously when they started to get into boxing, then go down to the All Irelands and that there, and they were like, that's Katie Taylor, she's world champion, and then I got to know, but I didn't. Right. I never looked at any boxer.
No, you just kind of did because you kind of went into the family. And what about you, Aoife? Would she have been a factor in you taking it up, or had you other heroes?
I didn't know any boxers when I started. I would have watched her in 2012 in the London Olympics when it was on telly, but I wouldn't have known anything about her or known anything about boxing itself.
Right, so that's interesting. You don't always have to see it to want to be it. There may be other ways into it. And was it then just the fact that you did it and you actually loved the physical feeling of it?
Yeah, no, I just loved the training. Once I got a few spars and going into training every night, it was just...
You just loved that.
There's nothing like being punched in the face.
Well, that was a question because I am going to ask you this. What is your first memory of being hit really, really hard, and how did you cope with it? I mean, I bet there's one that you all think back and went, oh my God, do you have one I've been hit really hard or knocked out?
No, touch wood. No, you'd notice a good shot, but you wouldn't be like, oh my God, ow, the pain. You'd be more like, right, I need to get one back. It's more that kind of competitiveness, because when you're in the ring, you don't really feel the pain. The odd time, you'll feel a good shot, but not in a sense oh my God, ow. It's more like you kind of just want to get them back for doing it, you know.
That's really interesting. When you start, do you not go, ow, that hurts?
When I first sparred, I knocked her one down and I bawled my eyes out. I went over and picked her up. I was like, I'm so sorry. I was bawling. I swear to God. Yeah. So that was how I coped from the off. But
what about you, Michaela?
I always remember sparring Ryan Burnett. These were
Ryan Burnett, who's professional boxer.
He would never take it easy on you.
Yeah.
And I remember me and Ari always used to spar him, and before we we always were down in the gym early, and so we always warmed up together. But because we were down early, Ram was there, and he'd always say to you, come on, jump into the ring so you're sparring before you even started training.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't take it easy on you. I remember before he hit me an uppercut, and the next day my nose was black. I couldn't sneeze or nothing. I used to hate sparring him, but it obviously brought me on, and I remember just week by week I hit him 2 times that week, and then the next week I was hitting him 4 times. So seeing yourself,
so you could see the progress. And Aoife, what about you? The first time you got hit with a hard punch, how do you react, even physically and mentally? I think to that.
I think because when you're in sparring, the adrenaline is so high that you don't actually notice it.
Interesting.
But there's definitely been shots where you're like, that was a good shot.
You can't let them see that.
You have to do poker face.
Yeah, do you? You have to do poker face.
Yeah, you do. And then you'd be broke up the next day. That's when you get out of the ring, and the adrenaline comes down, and then you're like, oh my neck. You feel like you've been better.
That's where you feel that whiplash.
Yeah, but in the moment you don't really feel it.
So that's really interesting, because I often wonder how you deal with it. It's pure adrenaline and also focus and concentration, I guess. You're actually in the moment so much. Have any of you ever, you've presumably put people on the canvas, have you ever knocked anybody out?
Not knocked out, no.
No, and I think there's a reason. Not yet. And also I think there's a reason for that too in amateur boxing, which is an interesting thing. They took away and we should let people know that in amateur boxing and women's boxing you still wear protection on your heads, and they took it away for the men's and amateur, which I thought was really weird. Why keep it for the women's and get rid of it for the men? Surely you would do one or the other. Does it help, Michaela?
I actually think before the headgear you see more punches coming, but the only reason I like it, so I don't have to get my hair cut, keeps my hair.
That's so true. Having hair is such like an obstacle. I swear to God.
It's like Grainne Walsh today. But it's true. It does. And actually, I always think as well, you don't recognise amateur boxers as much because when they take the helmets off, they look so different. You know. But it is. There's been an interesting kind of debate over why do they take it away for the women, but you have it still, and as amateurs, you will always wear it.
I think maybe it's better for cuts.
Yeah.
Like, if you're fighting maybe like 3 days in a row, if you get a cut, like it's hard to.
Well, I think
that.
you even see it with Katie. I mean, I know she's fighting a different weight now and everything as well, but she gets hit more in the face
after
now
a
because
fight,
she doesn't
you'd be
have
bashed
it.
up, like.
You can see that the protection isn't there.
Yeah.
And tell us what's the difference between, Michaela, amateur and professional as well in terms of rounds and length of rounds.
We compete at 3-minute rounds.
3 threes.
And at world level for women is 10 2-minute rounds.
Yeah, it can go up to 10.
It's 2 minute. We used to box 4 2-minute rounds, and it's different, like completely different. Like,
so 3 threes is different than 4 twos.
Oh, completely.
And when did that change? A couple of years ago?
About
3 years.
26. I think after Rio it changed.
That's interesting.
For the men for Rio.
Yeah, because Katie never boxed 3 minutes.
The men.
She didn't. Yeah.
The men in Rio was 3 threes, and then obviously it changed.
So even something that small as going from 4 by 2 minutes to 3 by 3 minutes, you have to adjust physically.
Oh, big time, It is different. Like, I much prefer.
I like the threes better. Like, if you're fit, like if you're like
if you have the endurance there,
it really suits you. Like,
oh, interesting. Okay. I suppose what I was curious about as well was I'm going to ask you to tell me what you think is the other person's biggest strength, right? It could be a punch or it could be something else about them. So, Grainne, what would you say is Michaela's greatest strength as a boxer?
She loves hearing it, so she's a hard trainer. Hard trainer, and like just your footwork and your speed and all. Obviously, she's a good bit lighter, so but just her attitude towards training and stuff, that would be probably the standout
so
thing.
hard.
Yeah.
All right, Aoife, what would you say is her best trait?
Grainne, I'd say she loves these body shots.
Really?
Every time I'm sparring her,
You feel the brunt of it.
She's good at them, all right, and she's very fast.
Right, got a bit of speed there as well. Michaela, what about Aoife?
I say for like her range and her distance as well, because she's so big for the weight.
So she's tall, relatively tall for her.
It's just it's like she's be 75. You get like small stock muscle, but she's good and rangy and good
long
at keeping
arms.
people, long
So
arms.
you can reach. You have a good reach then as well.
Big massive hands as well.
Actually, show me your hands.
I have tiny hands. People always say that to people. I have tiny hands.
Massive hands. Great, okay. And all of you, I want to ask you, because these are really important years for you, what is it that you feel you're still weak on, that you're kind of still working on and still learning on, and that you feel you have to get better at to make this jump now into gold medals and world medal status for you two as well? Grainne, what would you say?
I would just, it's all like, you kind of have your own style at this stage, and then when every spar you have, you're working on different things and improving. Like, it's hard to break habits, so like it doesn't just happen like that. You have to keep working at it week in, week out. But in terms of like what gets you from, say, a bronze medal that I had to maybe gold the next time, it's just the 1%, like getting enough sleep, making sure you're rehydrated. Like, we do focus a lot on hydration and stuff when we're in the institute, and like just being refueled properly. Your recovery is just as important as training, so there's all the 1% stuff.
On your training days, and we'll talk about that in a minute, what time would you be like in bed, would you say?
11. Me and Michaela always share rooms, so we'd always try and like go to sleep at 11.
Have to be sleep by 11, right? Okay. Aoife, what are you working? What do you think is your next thing to work on, or do you have, what's your weakness?
Well, I'm definitely learning. Like, every training session I do with the coaches, like, I'm learning loads, and I think it's just a matter of putting it into practice, getting good spars and going to tournaments. And
how long are you in the high performance group, which is the elite Irish group?
Since last year.
Yes,
I started as under 22s.
Right, yeah. And you won a medal at European under 22s, didn't you?
Yeah, silver last year.
Right, so you still have a lot to learn, whereas you've been in the high performance programme, Michaela, for how long?
Well, only from last year it's been fully. So last year and this year I've been full time from Tuesday to Friday, and it's like it makes a huge difference, like, because you're getting well looked after, and the setup and all we have over there, and all the we've got everything over
and
there. And
people wouldn't know that now, because the Irish boxing elite group used to always be based down in the National Stadium down in Dublin, in the middle of Dublin, really, if you like, down in the North Circular. But now you're based out in the Institute in Abbottstown, which is kind of where all of our elite sports people are. Where do you live, and who feeds you? And you come up Tuesday to Friday, is it?
Yeah.
So you spend 4 days a week solid there, okay? And where do you stay?
In a hotel.
Nice.
People be like, oh, that's great. way. Like,
sounds glamorous.
Yeah, it sounds glamorous, yeah, and like, but it kind of takes the edge off. If you ever want to just spontaneously go to a hotel for a weekend, you're like, oh my god, I'm actually sick of hotels, because all week, like, there's nothing like your own bed.
Bored with hotels.
There's nothing like your own bed. So.
And where do you stay? Do you stay in the one over
in Carlton? We used to be in the Lou Fitzgerald. That's where we were always, but it was too far when we were moved to the institute.
And where's in Carlton then?
7-minute drive. It's in Blanchardstown, like.
Blanchardstown, okay. So. It's not the one over near the Blanchardstown shopping centre,
No, that's the Clary.
Oh yeah, the Clary, because the RFU were based over there, so the Irish rugby team in there too. So, and you two share a room?
Well, it kind of changes, but me and Michaela would every week be sharing. Like.
And Aoife, what about you?
There's other girls up there, so
who would you be sharing with?
Maybe Amy or Kira Smith is there.
Amy Broadhurst, Amy Broadhurst, who's another brilliant rising young boxer as well. And who feeds you, Michaela?
Well, we get our breakfast there in the morning, and then what do you call the food place again?
Gourmet food.
Gourmet food.
A few
they
different
deliver
restaurants.
food over to the institute.
Our lunches and our dinners.
We sound so spoiled.
Well, if anybody's seen the Katie Taylor documentary, that brilliant documentary on Katie Taylor, you will know she can't cook. One of the reasons she laughed about not being cooked was because she said she was always at home and her mother always made sure she was properly feeding. She did all of that work for her. And I interviewed her in America last year, actually, before that documentary was made. And I said to her, do you have friends around you cook? And she went, I'm never cook for anybody. I'd poison them all. So it's really funny because as elite athletes, sometimes you get a lot done for you, but there's a big reason for that. You guys are training.
It's
how many hours a day?
I know, like 3 to 4 hours every day, like so, and then your rest in between, like.
So your routine is up around 8.
We weigh in.
You weigh in every day at 8.
People would actually be shocked at the amount of times we have to weigh. We weigh 4 times a day. Like, people would be lucky to weigh 4 times a year, but...
Well, I won't step on a scale once a month if I'm lucky. Why is that so important to weigh 4 times a day?
So first thing in the morning, that's the most accurate time to get your weight, but then you weigh after your first session to see, like, what you've lost in your session.
What are you losing in terms of sweat and minerals and all of that, and hydration?
And then before and after your second session as well.
Wow.
So, but people would be shocked by that, that's why I just said it there. But
I'd never been a boxer, lads. I would never get up on the scales once a month, never mind 4 times a day. And then do you eat over in the institute in the training centre and then come back in the evenings then? Is that it?
Yeah, we'll have our dinner there after the second session, and you're
back over to the hotel at what time?
About 6, half 6.
Right. About 6, half 6.
And then are you like the rest of us watching Love Island, or what are you doing?
I love Love Island.
Everybody needs a bit of distraction. But basically then you kind of have 3 hours and it's do whatever you want. Or are they strict on you in terms of you have to be getting your sleep and rest and that kind of stuff?
It's kind of for your own benefit, really, because
you know
it's like
you can tell you, but it's on you. Like, it's up, like you're not like, and like you have to take ownership for your own responsibility. Like
so you got to do it. And I was curious in terms of weights. Do any of you struggle with the weight or the weight category you're in, or do you find it's okay once you watch it every single day?
Like, people are different. Like, some of the lads like box at really light weights for the size of them. But for me, I used to box at 64 and I had to move up because 64 is not an Olympic weight. So I had to move up to 69. So as I said earlier, I am actually quite small for 69, but for that reason it kind of makes me have an easy life. It makes you have a little bit easier life.
And the really important thing about the two of you is you're now the weights that you're in. So what are you?
I'm 57 kilo.
57, which is feather, is it?
Weight,
and you're
69,
which is welter. Those are the 2 new women's weights that are coming in. So they weren't there in previous Olympics.
No,
so to explain to listeners, there were only 3 women's weights starting in the London 2012 was the first time women's boxing came into the Olympics. And no, sorry, am I right? 2012. That was the first time, and then 3 weights in Rio, but now it's moved up to 5. And you two, this now means that you two now are heading for this is what your big aim is for the Olympics, because it's in your weight. You now have the chance to do it, which is a fantastic thing.
There was just such a gap between like 60 kilo and 75, just 15 kilos. Like, there's no way. Do you know, I was boxing at 64 and like coming down to 60, so there would be no point. Like, Katie was there and now Kelly's there, so I was kind of in limbo, you know. So I'm just delighted now that there's something in between.
It opens up a whole new world for you. I mean, you have world championships every year anyway, but there's nothing like the Olympics, I don't think, in terms of prestige. And that is fantastic for you. If you have a dream day off, if someone says to you, right, no boxing, don't have to worry about a championship next week or whatever, I want you to tell me what would be your dream day off. Michaela?
I'd probably wake up and have
Could be similar, I'd say.
I'd have like 3 donuts or something and a can of Coke, and then for lunch I'd have a pizza and Coke, and then I'd go like quadding or something.
Quadding?
Because I was away on holiday and done quadding and I loved it.
Right, so something adrenaline like.
Something mad like.
What about you, Aoife? Dream day for you?
Not really sure. I haven't thought about it, but
you don't get them too often.
It would definitely involve food.
We're all every boxer's the same. Like.
A lot of chocolate.
A lot of chocolate. Oh Lord. Yeah, and maybe a game of Gaelic football for you, soon as you haven't played it.
It's been a long time though, so I don't know what it'd be like.
Would you be near county level or anything like that?
I did a bit underage.
Did you? Yeah.
Like, oh geez, it's a long time.
What position?
I was kind of in the forwards or else midfield.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And all those skills probably do transfer over. I think. I mean, I think if your footwork, all that sort of stuff must surely transfer.
And even a sporting mentality, like it's all it's all the one. But what led me to boxing when it came down to choosing one or the other was the individuality of boxing. It was kind of, if I wanted to do an extra run, it was going to benefit me, whereas I was coming to Dublin like 4 days a week, and some of the girls lived 5 minutes away and weren't putting in the same effort, so we were paying for it on the field, like. So
you're totally in control of this.
And the worst that can happen on a football pitch is you're going to lose. When you're in a ring, you're going to get punched around the place. So it's kind of, it's up to you, like.
And before we move on, what's your dream day then? Obviously loads of eating.
Loads of eating, of course. And then like something adrenaline as well. Like I was on holidays and went to a water park with my family, and like that sort of thing is right up my street. Like I love that kind of stuff.
Right, love all that stuff. Boxing is really, I find it really fascinating sport, because it's the one sport where, I mean, you really physically get challenged all of the time, and yet you're involved in basically what's a chess match at the same time. So you have to try and outscore your opponent, and yet at the same time you're taking this physical punishment, and at the end of it judges decide which of you was better on the basis of things that are happening very fast. And Michaela, you've had 2 big decisions that went against you, so I'll explain to the listeners. You were in 2 Commonwealth finals. The first one you lost to Michaela Adams, the first woman to win an Olympic medal, a gold medal, the great British champion. You lost to Nicola Adams in England, or in Scotland, wasn't it? Scotland. Yeah, and then 2 years later, last year in Australia, you make the final of the Commonwealth Games again, and you're beaten again, and you're beaten by an Australian, a local boxer. And I saw you tweeting saying you were robbed, and you obviously felt, and we saw obviously Nevin, the famous who was it, John Conlon's famous reaction after the Olympics. So you obviously were very aggrieved after those fights. How do you deal with that when you think, I should have won that, I should have got that, and the judges got it wrong?
It was something like, the first one with I fought Nicola Adams was very young, so obviously it was a bit outspoken and like, I should have won in that there, but obviously like it's boxing, like no matter what, like it's always going to be, corruptions can always be there, like, and you can never, like, it's 5 judges around the ring, and it's what they see, it's not what you see or what you feel, so you just have to learn from it and grow from it, and just even from the mistakes you make, you just have to sort of learn from it and what not to do the next time.
And do you get better at dealing with that disappointment then?
Yeah, definitely. Even, but I felt last year when in the Commonwealth final against Sky Nicholson.
Yeah, that was one in Australia.
I remember it was all over the newspapers, everything. She was a poster girl.
She was the poster girl.
It was like a fairy tale for her. But like going into the fight, I didn't think about that. Like I was confident in my own ability in beating her, and even like when I look back after, like should have done more, should have not. And I remember John Conlon sending me like, it is what it is, like, and you just have to get on with it, like, and I don't think whatever I would have done, I don't even think I got hit that fight. Right. And she got a 3-2 split decision.
But that's hard to, like, I think that's really hard to deal with, Grainne, that notion that, like, I really boxed well, but the judges got it wrong. So what have you, again, you must have you had bad moments as well, and where you thought, I won that fight, and how do you deal with it?
Yeah, every boxer does have those kind of days where you feel like I should have got that, but like Michaela said, it is just opinions of 5 people around the ring and not what you think you did or what your corner thinks you did, because sometimes you could be biased towards yourself as well, and you're only actually feeling the punches that you're connecting with, so but in terms of, that's just the way boxing is compared to other sports, that the ball either goes into the net or you cross the line at a certain time. it's just a sport.
Or it could be an offside against you or whatever. Somebody calls our VAR. We're watching the World Cup, all those VAR
all the VAR,
VAR ones. So you come to kind of say there's a bit of that in other sports.
It's just a part of the game, really. And we know what we're getting in for when we get into the ring. So that's just part of it. So you just kind of, it's up to you to make sure.
You can just have to prepare yourself as best as possible and not think about that happening. All you can do, you're in control. You control the controllable.
Yeah.
If you hear a judge's name getting called that doesn't like you can't let that affect. You just have to go in the ring and do the best you can, and what will be. You just have to have faith that your preparation and everything.
I've seen some things. So remember we were at the World Championships last year, and Mary Khan was going for
famous Indian.
She was going for this has never been done, 6th world title. And when they were coming out to the ring, she was boxing against a Ukrainian. The medal, the flags were already done in order of who was going to medal. So imagine you coming in to box in a world final and you already see that's already done. There's no chance of me winning this fight. That's where I think I'd be what the actual hell
could I hold my head?
Yeah, I just was feeling. Obviously, I don't know whether she's seen it or not, but for me, that would be soul destroying to see that before you even get in.
Wow. And I know, Mick. I mean, this raises the whole question about how boxing has been run internationally, and obviously we know that there's been a lot of controversy about referees, and what's happened now with the Olympics basically is that the International Olympic Committee have said we're taking the running of the Olympic boxing away from the International Boxing Federation, and we're going to run the qualifications. So one of the bad things about that in some ways for you is that normally the World Championships would be an Olympic qualifier, and you're going to World Championships in October?
10 weeks.
Okay, in 10 weeks time. Wow. And this time they won't be Olympic qualifiers, and you won't get a chance to qualify for the Olympics until sometime between next February and April.
That's right, yeah.
And is that going to make it more difficult, Michaela?
Well, the only thing is everyone's in the boat, so everyone you're going to prepare no matter what. So we just obviously going to the World Championships with the same mindset. You can't really be I'm not going to give as much. It's not an Olympic qualifier. You just have to go in with the same mindset. And obviously, we'll be going to the World Championships, they're going to bring home medals. So.
Right. Yeah, so everybody's in the same boat.
In the same boat, yeah.
Okay. I'm always interested in. We have Tullamore, Offaly, Roscommon, Belfast. The elite Irish men's boxing management team and coaches. One is from Dublin, Bernard Dunn. One is from Zara Antia is from Georgia. One is Dimitri's from Russia. And one is from Belfast, John Conlon.
That's right, yeah.
Do you have a language problem out there, guys?
I think it was worse when
with the languages.
I know it is good crack. It was worse probably when they first came, before I was on the scene, but. Just them trying to get used to that, and us trying to get used to their lingo and the way they speak and all. But you just get used to it. It is good crack as well. But
I'd say some slag with it.
Yeah.
And you speak. I imagine you speak a couple of languages because you did college before you went into boxing.
Yeah, I went to NUIG and studied there for 2 years doing Italian and German. And what drawed me to the course was the fact that there was Italian. I'm just obsessed with Italian. Italy, I was in holidays there 2 weeks ago in Italy with my family. So
do you speak either of those languages?
I speak Italian, yeah. I worked for 2 summers. No, don't. I can't. No.
Come si dice in Italiano. Come si dice in Italiano. I'll bait the head off you.
I don't know.
You'll have to get that phrase. I only have a little bit of Italian. Only a little bit. I'd love to speak it though. I love it.
I'm obsessed with it.
I'm a bit obsessed with Italy as well. That's amazing. And you have a bit of German as well?
A little bit. Yeah, I don't have the passion for German. It was never. It was kind of just part of the course that I was going to do it.
But you sometimes go to Italy on training camps. And everything. So you speak. She can order all the food.
We went to Italy.
We went to the European Unions. None of us had a clue, and we were like, Grainne.
Yeah. Because it was in a small little village where there wouldn't be many tourists or nothing. But I was loving life. I was like, no problem.
You were bossing it.
Yeah.
And did you go? So you went to college and then came into the high performance program. What about you, Aoife?
No, I haven't been to college.
So you went straight from leaving cert into the high performance program.
Yeah.
Wow. And do you think that somewhere down the road you might go back and do something later?
Yeah, no, that's the plan. I think it's always good to have something to fall back on, or just to do a course to keep your so you're not totally just on boxing.
Yeah.
But just something to do at the weekends or in between sessions, something to.
So at the moment you are exactly the same thing. And what about you? Did you do something before you went into high performance, or did you always train full time?
When I finished school, I went to college and done just my personal training.
So you're the fitness expert in the gang.
I don't know if I'm a fitness expert,
but you have some of that background as well. Yeah, I was curious, did you all go straight in or what did you do, or whatever? Anybody got pre-fight superstitions, things that you have to do before you go to a fight? Or
I'm severely OCD. Like, that's not even in boxing, that's just internal.
And you room with her. So hold on, you don't tell us, Michaela, tell us. How bad is it? Go on, what are the things she has to have done?
If I close the curtain and I'm sleeping and you're lying there, next thing Brian, she's up and she's the smallest bit of light she has to get. I could really embarrass her, but I'm too good of a friend.
Well, you can admit to us. So before a fight, then what do you really have to have in place that really gets you in a comfortable spot?
I try not to be too OCD when it comes to fighting, because then that can actually go against you. If you leave your room without something and there's no way of getting it, you're gonna be like, oh my god, I'm actually going to lose. Like, you can't have that sort of mentality. But I'm more OCD in terms of just everyday life.
So it's your everyday life. And what about you? Is there anything, Aoife, that you like to do or have in place or do before a fight, or have lucky socks or do your hair?
No, there's nothing in particular, but I just like to just know your plan, talk to the coaches, and
which I'm sure must be rehearsed a lot. I mean, they give you so much direction.
They're very good at telling you what will work and what won't work and what they think is best.
And they've scoped out your opponents obviously really well in that last championships. You could see that in that World Championships last year as well. All of your fights, they were really impeccably tactically done. And Michaela, have you any little things that you like to do? Or
I always have a handful of green Skittles.
Say that again. Green Skittles to Table Walsh, please. Really? You always have
I always have a handful of green Skittles. I don't know, it has to be the green ones. I don't know why.
That's the most original I've ever heard.
What if the green ones were sold out though?
Yeah. Exactly.
But I prep before I go, so I go to the shop before I go.
She has them all planned. You bring the green Skittles all around the world with her. Fantastic, I love it. Well, let's hope there's never a shortage of green Skittles anyway. You've got a really, this is fantastic. You've come back from the European Games, as I said, both with medals, and we also had other female medalists at that as well. So who else won a medal there?
Kelly Harrington.
Kelly won silver. Fortunately injured now, so she can't go to the European Championships, and they are coming up the 24th of August. You're heading off. Where are they?
In Madrid.
Right, okay. And European Championships, after you come back, then what's next?
World Championships is 10 weeks from now. So
where?
That's Siberia.
Well, we end up going to the most glamorous places in the world. Boxing brings you all over the world. It really does. And because the European Championships and the World Championships, are they always that close together?
No.
No, never.
Really?
So
how do you prioritise, or what do you do, Michaela? How do you sort that out? Because they are very close.
Obviously, the coaches in Bernard, they'll sit down and they have our plan set out. So whatever they advise, we sort of have to go with.
You'll go with that.
They know what's best for us to know, even how we get on and train. Because obviously, we're only back training from the European Games. We had a bit of a rest there, so they monitor us and just see how we're getting on. So they make the final decision and everything else.
Right. And you haven't been to European Seniors before, Aoife?
No.
So this is the first one for you. When was the European Under-21s, the 22s that you won a medal at?
Last April.
Right, last year. Okay. So this is all moving up in level for you as well. And obviously you've got medals at world level, global level. That's your next big aim. Yeah. Okay. And then you don't even know yet when those Olympic qualifiers are going to be on. That's something.
I think
we actually do know now.
February. I think
February
in London.
Oh, brilliant!
So that's nice and local.
Oh, great!
Over the water,
Oh, that would be fantastic.
The families and all will be delighted.
Families can go exactly. You must bring your families to very exotic spots.
They never really. They can't really go. It's too hard.
It's too far to get. Exactly. Yeah. Have your parents travelled abroad to see you at this stage?
Mine, no.
Yeah, so London would be brilliant because it's so close. Yeah, and people you know can hop on a flight and get to London. Yeah, it's way easier. You said something I read once on one of your feeds. And by the way, I believe Kelly Harrington describes the boxers as a wolf pack. And I heard at the European Championships, men and women, all of you get on really, really well. You're very tight because you train and spar together all the time.
Live together.
And live together. So they're called the wolf pack apparently. But once, Michaela, you said that my strength comes not from with lifting weights or fighting skills, but from lifting myself every time I was knocked down. And is that really strong for you? And I suppose, what was the most testing time for you that you've come back from?
Just bad decisions not there, and obviously they help you grow as well, and you just like focus on the main goal, like, which has obviously been the Olympics for me. And Tokyo's right there, like I feel it in the palm of my hand and it's there for me. I just have to go and grab it, and just every day is a stepping stone towards Tokyo. And it's just like Grainne, you said, like getting your sleep, all the small 1%, your nutrition,
1%, the marginal gains as they call them,
and like that makes a difference between like win the medal and not win the medal, like. So
and having beaten a European and a world champion to get to that final.
Yeah, but you can't get like complacent with that. They're like their medals are in the past now, so they are like, it's not that they don't mean nothing, but you can't like look at that.
And their form could be completely different next year.
Exactly. So
and also how they box you the next time.
See, they're going to change their tactics if they haven't worked the first time. They're going to have to alter it. So you can never. Obviously, it shows you where you're at, and you take great confidence from it. But you can never settle and like live in the past of previous competitions. You have to always move on.
That's what makes boxing so different, I think, and so difficult is that tactical element to it as well, and the fact that you could physically get a belt in a fight that suddenly just disorientates you, and then you're going to have to try and rethink it.
And obviously, like the big occasions sometimes, like when you have a bit of lack of experience or whatever, like I've been in that situation before where I've underperformed and paid the price for it, but then I try to keep it in my mind like that everything does happen for a reason and it's setting me up for better things, like. So you kind of always have to look on the lighter side.
And can I ask you before you go, first of all, is there anybody in the elite boxing squad that you think would be a perfect candidate for Love Island next year, or would be the first one to put the hand up?
I'd say Grainne.
Probably myself.
Seeing as we had an Irish drumming player, an Irish drumming player win the thing, would you go in?
Yeah, I don't know if
you would.
I'd be mortified.
She's on the way down here, she'd love to go on.
I don't know.
Put anybody out Mora, I don't think they're good.
She is hilarious, but people love Irish wit, like, you know, and that's why.
Yeah, that's true. That's I think that's why they like Javad as well, because it is a factor.
I might apply yet. In
a couple of years' time, we might. Exactly. It has to wait until after 2020. Okay, and then you'll be first in line. Just to finish up, tell us, because it's really important that we see ye are the next generation. You're the generation that, certainly for you, for some other girls and young boxers, Katie inspired. But who do you think as well we should be watching out for in the years to come? Can I start with you, maybe, Michaela? That people might know about in boxing, young Irish female boxers at the moment.
Like a lot of like the younger ones, like the youth and juniors, like your girl Diana Moorhouse.
Diana Moorhouse. She's from out near Bray, actually, isn't she?
Yeah. She's 2-time European champion. Like when they were in last year training with us, just and like even a few of the junior ones.
Right.
That were running gold there just recently, like
bringing home medals, like
bringing
from
home
majors.
medals at that level. And like I remember, like years ago, people like if you were fighting Russian, they'd think, you're fighting a Russian. And now like they're beating the Russians handy, and they're only like 15, 16. So it shows you like. Yeah. Like they're going to be even better. They're going to be even better than us. Like so, it just shows you like all the talent there. It's unbelievable.
And if it's unusual enough to have, again, I think we were just saying you were possibly the first international female boxer from Roscommon, but there's a very good young female boxer from Leitrim that won a medal last year, isn't it?
Yeah, Dervla Rooney. She went to the Youth Olympics. And
in Argentina. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, brilliant. So a load of talent in Connacht. And what about you? Somebody that you think we might know about yet, but we're going to hear more about?
Yeah, like Michaela said, like just generally, like all the youth and juniors compared to a few years ago, they're going away and bringing home 5, 6, 7 medals. Like it's crazy. So
and afraid of nobody.
And you know it's going to be coming back to bite us in a few years because they'll be up at elite level.
But that'll make everybody better.
No, it's good to have.
How many women are in the high performance unit then? How many of you are there roughly? I mean, who else is there? We have 3 of you here. Kelly Harrington is injured at the moment.
There's kind of ones that like come in and out, but like there's some of us that are there full time every single week. Like so, all in all, there's probably about 6 or 7. 8.
7 or 8. And in years to come, I think that's probably going to get even bigger. But we can't wait to see, and off the bench, we can't wait to see what you do next. Europeans starting on August the 28th. That's the one to watch out for everyone who's listening. And we hope to see you back in action. And sometimes those aren't on TV, but very often you can get them streamed. So if you go onto the international websites, I watched the World Championships last year on the streaming, and that's a brilliant thing you never had before. So you can actually see, because
people want to see it.
People want to watch it.
And we can actually see it. So hopefully we'll do the same at the World Championships this year. Just to let you know, listeners, thank you for joining us, listening and watching. You can find all our previous episodes on iTunes or on the offtheball.com. Go into that website, look at their podcast links and slide down and you'll find Off the Bench and all our previous episodes then. So thanks so much to our brilliant boxers for coming in. We look forward to having you back here with World Championship and hopefully Olympic medals someday.
Thanks very much.
And thanks for listening, everyone. Enjoy your sport.